What do you mean by who are you? I'm not who. Hmm. Yeah. How are you? How? Venus. How are you? How are you, MT?
So I like Stoicism a lot, and one of the things that I'll sometimes do is just go into the YouTube search bar, type in Stoicism, and see what I get. And lately, a lot of the content that I've seen has been like this. It's basically AI generated musclemen trying to give you motivational advice. And when I see that, I just think that doesn't look a lot like the Stoicism that I've read about in books.
What
If
are
you
you?
read books like Marcus Aurelius' Meditations or older Stoic texts from the Greek world, you'll see that Stoicism is weird. It has strange views about God and logic, matter, the nature of the mind, what a good life is. And boiling it down to just a couple of inspirational quotes just really doesn't do it justice. So that's why I wanted to make this video. This is an in-depth explanation of Stoicism. By the end of the video, I want you to be able to answer questions like, what is Stoicism? What is Stoic physics, logic, and ethics? What is the Stoic sage? And why has Stoicism remained relevant for thousands of years? I'm Jared Henderson. I'm a philosopher. And if you like this video or you like other videos that I've made, I want to ask you to consider supporting me over on Substack. That helps me make videos and bring in-depth philosophy content to YouTube. And you also get some writing in exchange. I think it's a pretty good deal. So first we need to start with a little bit of history. You might think that the history of Stoicism begins with Marcus Aurelius. It's not uncommon even to hear Marcus Aurelius referred to as a pioneer of Stoic philosophy. But you have to understand that Marcus Aurelius actually comes very, very late in the development of ancient Stoicism. In order to really tell the story of Stoicism, you have to go to ancient Greece. And I would say that you actually need to go back to Socrates. Socrates was a Greek philosopher who lived in Athens. While Socrates himself did not found a school, many of the people who were influenced by him did. This is how you have Plato's Academy, or the Peripatetics, who were the followers of Aristotle, or the Epicureans, or the Cynics, or the different kinds of skeptics, or the Stoics. Each of these schools of thought had its own kind of flavor. But they all inherited a way of thinking about philosophy from Socrates, which was that philosophy was in service of helping you to live a better life. In fact, the ancient Greeks were kind of obsessed with this idea of determining what the best human life was. They viewed all of philosophy and learning, so physics and logic and ethics, all of it was part of this larger project of human flourishing. And in this regard, at least, the Stoics are just a typical normal example. So the founder of Stoicism was Zeno of Citium, and almost everything that we know about Zeno of Citium comes from this book. This is the Lives of the Eminent Philosophers by the ancient historian Diogenes Laertius. So in that text, we actually learn a few interesting things about Zeno of Citium. He was very interested in figuring out how to live the best possible life, and one of the ways that he tried to make some progress on that was by visiting the Oracle of Delphi. This is also how the story of Socrates begins. Zeno asked the Oracle how he could live the best possible life, and the Oracle told him that he needed to take on the complexion of the dead. And Zeno interpreted this as meaning that he needed to make his mind more like ancient authors, and so he needed to read and study them. Zeno eventually goes to Athens. He's looking for a philosophical teacher like Socrates, but the only problem that he has is that Socrates has been dead for quite a while. But Zeno did find a teacher. That was the Cynic philosopher Crates. We're not going to go in depth about Cynic philosophy. It's just helpful to note that in a lot of practical ways, Cynic philosophy and Stoicism actually have a lot in common. It's just that the Cynics tend to be significantly more intense about things. For instance, the Stoics would go on to say that it's fine to be wealthy, but that wealth, strictly speaking, doesn't matter. The Cynics might openly advocate for just being poor on purpose. The Cynics also really didn't care about social convention. And in fact, the name cynic actually comes from the Greek word for dog, which was kind of meant as an insult that they later took on as just a name for themselves. So Zeno doesn't only study with cynics, though. Eventually, he studies with people who have been influenced by Aristotle and by Plato as well. And it's only after that that he goes on and founds his own school. And he started to teach at a place called the Painted Porch. And this is actually where we get the name Stoicism. The Greek word for porch is stoa. So the Stoics are basically like the people who meet at the porch. They're porch people. It would be really great here to talk about some of Zeno's writings. Truth is, we don't have any. And this is true for many early Stoics. Much of their work is just completely lost to history. This includes the second head of the Stoa, Cleanthes. We only have one text by him. And then the third head, who's considered to be possibly the most foundational and important Stoic, Chrysippus, we only have fragments from him. But from other ancient summaries and accounts of Stoicism, we know that Chrysippus played an important role in systematizing Stoicism, turning it into a complete and comprehensive system that you could study as a whole. Chrysippus basically took Stoicism, which previously had been maybe some disconnected but very interesting and related teachings, and tried to turn it into a philosophy that was about life and the universe and everything. Now, the Stoa continued after Chrysippus, and in fact, there would be many other heads of the school and many other Stoic writers. But typically, when people say the Stoics believed, they're often referring to Chrysippus's systematization of the earlier teachings from people like Zeno and Cleanthes. Sometimes we talk about a group called the Middle Stoics. This would be other Greek Stoics like Antipater or Posidonius. Some of these Stoics would actually make significant changes to the ideas of Stoic philosophy. The philosophy would continue to spread through the Greek world and then the Roman world, and that leads to a
अरे
group
नहीं
of
भाई,
writers that we
रुक
sometimes
जाओ
call the
एनोनिमस,
Roman
वेयर
Stoics.
वेयर आर गोइंग,
These are
अरे
people
मेरे को
like
काम पे
Marcus
था थोड़ा,
Aurelius,
ये काम कर रहा
Epictetus,
था.
Cicero, to some extent, and Seneca. We'll get back to the Roman Stoics after we've talked a little bit about what the Stoics really believed. For the Stoics, philosophy could actually be
Yeah,
broken up
you too
into
now.
three
See you
components.
later, have a
That's
nice day.
physics, logic, and ethics. Now, different Stoics actually disagree about which should come first, the logic or the physics, but ethics was usually seen as the culmination of Stoic philosophy and would be presented last. All of these terms are meant to be used pretty broadly. Like, physics isn't just about what you would study in a physics class, but it's also about things like whether or not God exists and what God is like. Logic is also understood pretty broadly, so it's not just the formal analysis of arguments like we would use it now, but it was also the study of good reasoning and what we would typically call epistemology, the study of knowledge and wondering if knowledge was even possible. And then ethics is basically how to live a good life in light of what we know about the world and about logic. The Stoics viewed philosophy as a kind of field. Around that field is logic. The land and the trees in the field are physics, and the fruit of the trees, that's ethics. All of Stoic philosophy really is leading up to those ethical questions, which I think, by the way, is why so many people look to Stoicism just for practical advice. It's what the Stoics really thought we should be aiming for. It's just that currently modern readers like to skip a couple of steps and go straight to the ethics and not worry about the physics or the logic. We're going to follow the example of those early Stoics, and we are going to talk about physics, logic, and then ethics. Oh, hold on. I need to see who's at the door. Hey, Jared, just so you know, Delete Me is sponsoring this video. All right, that's good to know. Do I know you? No, but I know you. How'd you find my address? It's on the internet. You see, data brokers take all of your information and then they sell it, and people can use that to steal your identity or to discriminate against you when you're applying for jobs or to show up at your house. Exactly. But if you use Delete Me, they can help you remove all of that information from the internet. So, how does this work? All you have to do is set up your account with Delete Me. You give them some information, and then their experts get to work, and they're going to start removing
Hey,
your
hi,
information
hi,
from
Mio.
the internet. They'll find
How
and
are you?
remove your personal information from hundreds of websites, like my address, and your name, your phone number, your relatives, your social media, all that kind of stuff.
Are you there,
And
Mio?
they don't just do it once, they'll keep scanning for an entire year. I do like that. I knew you would,
How
and I
are
think your
you?
audience would too, so I just need you to read this. Get 20% off Delete Me US consumer plans when you
नहीं,
go to joindeleteme.com/Henderson and use
अरे नहीं
promo
यार,
code
ये एनडीए
Henderson
की
at
पैक,
checkout.
एनडीए की
That's
नहीं कर रहा हूँ प्रिपरेशन.
joindeleteme.com/Henderson.
Had lunch. Not it, not it. Will be. Will be at like around 3:30 maybe. Big, big, because my stomach is full right now. So that's why. What about you? What did you eat? Winnie, she's my friend. Say hi to her now. Don't just text. Okay. Good. 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 Yeah. Yeah. May go ahead. Go ahead. We are listening. Yes. I want to listen your voice. I mean your song. I want you to sing again. What happened? Sorry. What? Yeah. Then go ahead now. We are listening to your melodious voice. Sorry. Go ahead, Meow. We are with you. Meow. You need to sing that song. That Mate Vinodali. Mate Vinodali. Go ahead. Try. Try. You can try. Asile Vegam Asile like that only. Yeah. अरे विनी उसको हिंदी नहीं आती है. She is from Tamil Nadu only. यू क्या? तो तुम गा दो, तेरे लिए वाला, तेरे लिए ही, तेरे लिए ही छोड़ोगे। ओके 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 ओके। What was that? What is this? Go ahead, I'm listening. Mel, where are you? Meow, meow. विनी, विनी गाओ तुम। ये वाला गा दो। तेरे लिए जियोगे।